Hello, I'm just checking something. Checking to see if the camera's right. Hang on, I haven't got my glasses. Let me just get my glasses. Can't see a damn thing without my glasses. Hang on, right. Stay there now. How do I look? Do I look alright? Happy day, see you days at wins. Yeah, that's fine, I think. Yeah, there we are. Okay, there she is, look. 3 Cliffs Bay. See the painting I did? 3 Cliffs Bay. Showed you that last Sunday, didn't I? Okay, right. My name is Craig J. Davis and welcome to my channel. Another Sunday, another sermon. And this video is going to be entitled, Should Christians Drink Alcohol? Now, I know that there are some Christians out there who are very strict about drinking alcohol. Some Christians out there say that people shouldn't drink alcohol at all, especially Christians. But if you ask me, I think that is going to the extreme. Now, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong in being a teetotaler. Of course, not. And there are some people out there that shouldn't drink alcohol at all because they either can't handle it or they are recovering alcoholics. But in general, for a lot of people, they can drink alcohol without causing them problems. And since this is going to be since this video is going to be talking about alcohol, I got my tanker, my beer glass. I've got a beer here called Hoegaarden. There we are. It's a wheat beer. It's made from, well, obviously, like all beers, it's made from water, barley, malt, wheat and hops. But unlike other beers, it's got other things added to it as well. It's got spices, as coriander, and the spices are coriander seeds, a natural orange peel, sugar and yeast. So there we are. And I'm a Christian and I sometimes drink alcohol. Although there are times when I have given it up because I want to improve my health. And yes, I will be honest, I have been a very big drinker by time, especially when I was in my teens and early 20s, but I've left that behind me. There we are. As you can see, it's very, see, it isn't transparent at all. It's opaque. It's opaque. See? And it's got a thick head. Okay, just let that settle. So why do I believe that some Christians can drink alcohol? Well, how many Christians are there on this planet? About 3 billion people. You know, about approximately 3 billion people on this planet are Christians. So Christianity is still the largest religion, although Islam is quickly catching up, and so it's only a matter of time before Islam takes over Christianity, unfortunately. But there we are. Okay, so is drinking alcohol a sin? Absolutely not at all. But what is the sin? The sin is drunkenness. Now, because there are some, sometimes alcohol doesn't cause people problems. A lot of people like to pop into their like to pop into their local pub after work and have a couple of pints in a local pub, and to sit down and to relax and to socialize, right? It can, I mean, a lot of people as well drink alcohol with food. I mean, in countries like France, right, it is a culture there to drink a wine with with food. It's the custom there to drink a wine with a meal. And it has been part of our culture. It has been, it's been part of the Western culture for thousands of years, right? And going out with your friends and having a few pints can give you a good time. However, there is a slip side to this. On the other edge, on the other side of the coin, alcohol can bring utter sheer hell. It can take everything away from you, your wealth, your family, your self-respect, your self-dignity. And this is why we are going to go through the scriptures, because both in the Old Testament and the New Testament, God abhors drunkenness. God detests drunkenness. God hates drunkenness. So why does God hate drunkenness? Is it because he's a boring old fart? Is it because God is a killjoy? Is it because God is a strict parent where he will just punish you even if you have a sip of alcohol? Is God a tyrant? Is this why he's against drunkenness? No. He's against drunkenness because God created you, God cares for you, and God loves you. And drunkenness is very harmful. Now, if any of you out there are drunk, I am not here to judge, right? In fact, I'm the last person to judge someone who's drunk, because as I always say to myself, if drunkenness didn't exist, I would have to invent it. And just try a sip of this. And I can drink because I'm completely sober. To all of you people out there, and you're probably shocked because what? Craig is doing a sermon and he's drinking alcohol. Well, as I said from the very start, when I started making these sermons, I said then, I am not like any other preacher. I am not like any other priest. My sermon, my ministry is my own. And I will even talk about things that other churches have swept under the carpet and pretend that they don't exist. Case in point, things like demons and demon possession. So, okay. Why is God against drunkenness? Well, I got all the scriptures here. It's quite a few scriptures. Right. We will start with the physical harmful effects of alcohol, because as we all know, alcohol can cause liver damage, but it can also cause other problems that other people are not aware. Alcohol, it doesn't just damage the liver, it damages the heart, it damages the kidneys, it damages your skin, it damages your pancreas, it damages your intestines. This is why a lot of the time alcoholics cannot digest food simply because they have bombarded their bodies, and their bodies have been so decimated by alcohol that they no longer have any stomach acids to break down the food. But if you go to Jeremiah chapter 48, please, and as you know, I always read from the English Standard Version because a lot of people don't understand the King James because it's in early modern English. It's in English from the 16th century. Sorry, right now. Okay, right. Jeremiah chapter 48, verse 26. Where are you? Yes, okay, yeah. Right. So, in the first scripture, please turn to Jeremiah. Jeremiah was one of the major prophets who tried to warn the Israelites. He tried to warn the Jews to stop worshipping idols, but they didn't listen. So, Jeremiah chapter 48 from verse 26 to verse 28. And make him drunk, because he magnified himself against the Lord, so that a robe shall wallow in his vomit, and he too shall be held in derision. Was not Israel a derision to you? Was he found among thieves, that whenever you spoke of him, you wagged your heads? Well, last verse 28. Leave the cities and dwell in the rock, O inhabitants of Moab. Be like the dove that nests in the sides of the mouth of a gorge. I think verse 26 is the most important, right? Make him drunk, because he magnified himself against the Lord, so that a robe shall wallow in his vomit, and he too shall be held in derision. To all people out there who have been drunk in the past, have you ever vomited? I have, and I'm sure many of you out there have as well. It's not a pleasant experience, is it? This is just one of the reasons why God is against drunkenness. And speaking of vomit, where are you? It's in Isaiah. Please turn to me to Isaiah, also in chapter 28, from verse 1 to 8. Where are you? No, man. Right, yeah, got it. Isaiah chapter 8, from verse 1 to verse 8. And this is about the judgment on Ephraim and Jerusalem. The proud crown of the drunkards of Ephraim, and the fading flower of its glorious beauty, which is on the head of the rich valley of those overcome with a wine. Behold, the Lord has one who is mighty and strong, like a storm of hail, a destroying tempest, like a storm of mighty overflowing waters. He cast down to the earth with his hand. The proud crown of the drunkards of Ephraim will be trodden underfoot, and the fading flower of its glorious beauty, which is on the head of the rich valley. Of the rich valley will be like a first ripe fig before the summer. When someone sees it, he swallows it, and soon it is in his hands. In that day the Lord of hosts will be a crown of glory, and a diadem of beauty to the raiment of his people, and a spirit of justice to him who sits in judgment, and strength to those who turn back the table at the gate. These also reel with a wine, and stagger with strong drink. The priest and the prophet reel with strong drink. That's R-E-E-L, yeah? Reel. They are swallowed by wine. They stagger with strong drink, right? They're staggering. They can't walk properly because their senses have been impaired. Their brain has been impaired through alcohol. Where am I? Yeah, they stagger with strong drink. They reel in vision, meaning that they can't see. Meaning that they can't see properly. They're probably seeing in double vision, because that's what alcohol can do to you as well. It can impair your vision. That's one of the ways it impairs it, right? They stumble in giving judgment, meaning when you're drunk, right, as they are making poor judgments. They are making very bad decisions. And why? Because they're drunk. For all tables are full of filthy vomit, with no space left. Right, I'll read verse 7 and verse 8 again, without me interrupting, okay? So I will just read it, and then you will understand more on what it says. So Isaiah chapter 28, from verse 7 to verse 8. These also reel with a wine, and stagger with strong drink. The priest and the prophet reel with strong drink. They are swallowed by a wine. They stagger with strong drink. They reel in vision. They stumble in giving judgment. For all the tables are full of vomit, with no space left. No space left. Shut up! I hate fireworks. I really do hate them. Poor animals, I tell you. Right, anyway. Okay, boys, you can stop with the firing squads. I think he's dead. I don't think he has to be executed anymore. Thank you. Sorry about for the interruption. On a Sunday! Right, where was I? Okay, so there's no space left on the table, meaning the table is full of vomit. Absolutely full. Right. Got a terrible heartburn. I don't really feel like drinking, but I'm having just one beer for this sermon. I've also got tea as well. It's better. Right, okay, so this is why God is against drunkenness. This is one of the reasons why God is against drunkenness, because it physically harms you. Case in point, vomiting. Here we go again. Here we go again! Right. So, why else does God hate drunkenness? Okay, please turn to me to Proverbs. And we're still in the Old Testament. We haven't got to the New Testament yet. The Old Testament, Proverbs chapter. We'll start with Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1. So, turn to Proverbs, please. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1. Verse 1. Stop stuttering. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 1. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. Do you understand? Wine is a mocker. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler, and whoever is led astray by it is not wise. When you become drunk, you make a fool of yourselves. You become an embarrassment to yourselves and to others. Hence, wine is a mocker, right? And look, it doesn't have to be a wine. It can be any alcoholic beverage. If you drink it to excess, you can make a fool of yourselves. It mocks you, right? It makes fun of you. You become a complete embarrassment to yourselves and others. You humiliate yourselves. I think this is going out of sync again. Right, more scriptures, still in Proverbs. Please turn with me to chapter 23, from verse 29 to verse 35. So that's Proverbs chapter 23 to Proverbs chapter 23 to from verse 29 to verse 35. Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those who tarry long after wine, those who go and try mixed wine. Do not look at wine when it is red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly. In the end it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart utter preserve things. Right? Alcohol leads to a debauchery. Right? And it says here, your eyes will see strange things. Many drunks, especially alcoholics, they hallucinate. Why? Because it's a sign of brain damage. It's where alcohol has impaired their brain over such a long period, to such an extent that they begin to hallucinate. It's not a good sign, is it? Right? So your eyes will see strange things. Your heart are to preserve things. You start to search for things, and you start to go into places where you shouldn't even go to. For example, pornography. Many drunk people, because their inhibitions have been lowered, because their defense barrier, which it gives us reason, has been lowered. So they start to search for things. Being drunk as well can lead to rape. It can lead to all sorts of sexual perversion. This is one of the reasons why God tells us to stay sober. be in control. And like I said, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just I'm just a preacher. I'm just preaching what God says about drunkenness. I'm not having a drink, but drinking to excess. And so, yeah, it says here, right? Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Being drunk, especially if you're an alcoholic, it's a pitiful state. It's sad, right? It's very sad. I've known people that when they are sober, they are respected, they are good role models, but as soon as they get drunk, they are an utter disgrace, and disrespect totally goes out of the window, right? So, who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaining? Drunks complain. They always complain. Being drunk can lead to strife. It can lead to financial problems, family problems, friends fall out over drink. Case in point, Alexander the Great. It came to me now, actually. Right? Alexander the Great, a Macedonian prince who became king of Macedonia at the age of 20 when his father was assassinated. When his father was assassinated, I think his name was King Philip III, I think. I'm not 100%, but anyway, right? So when Alexander the Great and his army invade India, he is having an argument with his best friend over who should be the rightful king. Of course, now, Alexander the Great's pride, his ego has been hurt, has been offended, and they're all drunk, right? They probably be right. They are drinking over a victory that they won in a battle, but this celebration turns into utter horror when Alexander the Great picks up a sword and kills his best friend. Of course, then later he regrets it. Right? Even before Christianity, right, and even before Judaism, alcohol was causing problems then. Alcohol is a drug. Not many people realize this. Alcohol is a drug, and it's also a very old drug. It's been around for thousands of years, and it's been destroying families for thousands of years. And the other reason why God is against drunkenness is it takes away your wealth. Now, obviously, we shouldn't worship money, right? The only thing that we should worship is God. If we put something else before a god to worship, that is called idolatry, and idolatry is also a sin. But saying that, at the same time, money is a useful tool, and we need money to live, and we need it to pay off our debts and the bills. We also need money to put food on the table, right? So it is a useful tool. But if you're not careful, if you are a regular drinker and you're a drunkard, you become poor, as it says here in Proverbs chapter 23. I can't pass a page on that. Chapter 23 to verse 21. So that's, right? Yeah, here it is. Proverbs, right? Proverbs. Chapter 23, verse 21. Actually, no. we will start from verse 20. So Proverbs chapter 23 from verse 20 to verse 21. Be not among drunkards, or among gluttons, eaters of meat. So it talks about a gluttony, but it also talks about it also talks about drinking alcohol, right? For the drunkards and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags. If you want to be poor, if you want to waste all of your money, if you want to have financial problems, then be a drinker. Because drinking is expensive, especially in pubs. And then it says here then, in the last paragraph, it says, and slumber will clothe them with rags. Means you won't be able to afford to buy new clothes because you're spending it all on alcohol. And slumber will clothe them with rags. How many we got? Right. Speaking about drinking and embarrassing you, please turn to the very beginning of the first chapter in the Bible, to the book of Genesis. I tell you, we're still in the Old Testament. We haven't got to the New Testament yet. Right, Genesis chapter 9, verse chapter 9. If I can get there. Right, here we are. Right, so Genesis chapter 9 to verse 20 to verse 25. Now, from what I'm about to read out, you've probably heard of the story before. It's after the flood, and Noah gets drunk. He gets very, very drunk. Listen to this. Right, yeah. Genesis chapter 9, from verse 20 to verse 25. Actually, no, we will start from verse 18. So Genesis chapter 9, from verse 18 to verse 25. The sons of Noah who went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the